Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in. Today I'm putting together another box set bouquet that you can make into a bridal bouquet or bridesmaid bouquet. You could also just arrange these into centerpieces, but it's just kind of a fun set. When I first opened it, of course, I love the colors that they have. It looks like a nice selection. And most box sets have a wire on the back. So I was a little taken back when I realized there weren't wires on the flowers. And you can see me kind of rush through the box there trying to figure out what to do, checking out everything, see what has wires, what doesn't. And then I found this fairly durable wire tucked in the back that you just insert into the bottom of each flower and greenery, which was not that big of a deal, a little cumbersome to have to deal with, but I did like how thick the wires were and how tight they fit. It did come with a length of ribbon there, which was nice. And it had a lot of greenery, and I really like this greenery. It had nice movement. It's a nice minty color, along with those pale kind of peachy pink tones. I think just looks fresh and looks really nice together, because they could have put a darker green, but I really like the greens that they chose. So there's a ribbon. It probably should be ironed out. It did come with a different kind of wire holder if you wanted to make more like a bush type of flower. It also came with a glue stick, so which I thought was funny, because as I was putting the wires in, I was thinking to myself, this should be glued, especially for a wedding. You don't want the flowers popping off as you're walking down the aisle. So it's kind of cool that they included the glue stick. I will put a link in the descriptions to the box set that I purchased. I got it right off of Amazon, so I'll put that up there if you like what you see. I did like the fact that they weren't all giant flowers. There was a lot more smaller ones. A couple of the box sets that I did had just all giant flowers, so you had this huge bouquet, which is really cool. But, you know, if you don't want to be blocked out by your flowers as you're walking down the aisle, it's nice to have like kind of something a little smaller too. So I did like the size of the flowers that they had. I think I had a bit of a struggle with what would be my focal flower, as that mauve pink flower was so large. It kind of should be the focal, but the color is a little bit muted compared to those whiter ivory tones of the other flowers. So a little bit of a struggle trying to figure out what's going to be my main focal flower. But after messing around with it a few times, I was able to work it out. And then I just kind of dispersed the flowers around. I do like those garden roses that you see there, the ones that are a little bit more open. I like grouping those together so it looks like a garden. I think groupings in this type of situation is kind of a neat look to the bouquet. And once I had all the roses into that dome shape, I worked my doodads, the little bits of hydrangea they had, some of the hypericum berry, and some of the smaller roses. I just kind of wove those into the bouquet, lifted them up on a different level in comparison to the roses. So you have different elevations throughout the bouquet, giving it a little bit more interest, making it look a little bit more like you picked it from a garden. And then I'm going to tuck in my ribbon eventually down along the bottom there. First, I'm going to do a nice row of greenery along the base. The flowers that were pre-wired, they were more of a foam type flower, and the wire was a little bit flimsy. So having this greenery to tuck along the bottom keeps those roses from flopping over, and it holds everything nice and tight. And some of the greenery had kind of a drape to them. You can see it moving there in the picture. So I love it when artificial flowers have that type of movement that makes them look real. And with the ribbon, I just did a shoelace ribbon, just 2 loops on either side, and I put a wire through it. My thought was I could take that wire and gather all the stems and pull it nice and tight. However, the stems were so smooth that wire just didn't grab as tight as like a chenille stem would. So you see me kind of struggle there. And one thing when you add a ribbon, you kind of need to find like the front of the bouquet. And that just happens naturally as you're putting it all together, to take a step back and kind of look at the bouquet from all angles and see what you would like to have facing out. and then you're going to put your ribbon there so that it faces out to the audience. So after I got the ribbon on, I tied it off with a chenille stem. I feel like the chenille stems can pull it in nice and tight, and then I will wrap the stem with a floral tape to cover the wires, trim it back, and you're all set. Thank you so much for tuning in.